The decision to escalate the case in this way only makes sense if you see this as part of a broader policing strategy that treats criticism of Israel as inherently subversive. And the decision to intervene, allegedly with a senior barrister shipped across jurisdictions, only makes sense if someone understood the trial's importance inside the government itself. None of these are normal features of a routine terrorism case. These are features of a political project. And because the court rejected the prosecution's story, what's left in the public record is the architecture of that project, exposed because the government misjudged its own evidence. And you can see the same architecture everywhere else in the country. You see it when NHS staff are disciplined for speaking about Palestine. You see it when protest movements are treated as extremist threats. You see it when people are sacked or investigated for using perfectly legal political slogans. You see it when employers adopt state talking points and treat them as policy. What happened to Strecker is one instance in a pattern that has been tightening across the entire political landscape, because lawfare doesn't spread through grand declarations. It spreads through repeated acts of institutional caution and state pressure that turn political positions into liabilities, one workplace at a time, one policing decision at a time, one prosecution at a time. So when the Strecker case collapsed, it didn't just collapse because the evidence was weak. It collapsed because the prosecution tried to do too much with too little, because it leaned on political assumptions instead of legal ones, and because the court wasn't willing to give the government what it wanted. And that's the most interesting part of the whole story. The government thought it would win. They thought the climate they'd built was strong enough to carry this case. They thought invoking terrorism would be enough to make the court defer. They thought the symbolic weight of the accusation would do all the heavy lifting for them. They thought the defense wouldn't be able to break apart the narrative, and they thought the public wouldn't notice the political implications if the verdict went the other way. In other words, they thought this was safe. They were wrong.